Hello, and welcome back to the Move, Grow, Rise podcast. This is your host, Jade, and I am so grateful that you're here today. Today, I have an exciting episode for you. The first part of this episode is going to be about a client and something that I was sharing with her that I think is really valuable to share with you as a listener. And then the second part is going to be about the importance of boundaries and how to set them without guilt. So let's just dive right into the episode and get to the good stuff. So last week I was talking to a client and she has some goals around losing weight. She was, unsure about what it is she should be eating. And I was just asking her questions about her lifestyle. And she was saying, Jade, I'm so confused because the other day I barely ate anything for the past 3 days. I've been traveling. I've been doing this and that, and it just has been busy. So I haven't been preparing meals and just kind of eating snacks here and there. And I really didn't eat anything, but I gained 2 pounds. And that's just so frustrating. I don't understand why. And when she was sharing this with me, it made me think about how our bodies need to feel safe in order to let things go. And so I was sharing this analogy with her about how when I was a teacher, I had a classroom, and that classroom was the environment that I needed to maintain and keep consistent. When we'd have a student come in who had a difficult home life, they're highly emotional, they've got some trauma, it's a hard thing for them to come to school, and it's really their only safe place. And we have to figure out how to make this student comfortable in our classrooms. What do? Well, we set consistent expectations, we set boundaries, we create practical routines, and we foreshadow what's going to happen that day. So we tell them we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and we're going to do this. We also talk kindly to that student, and we use our soft voices. Really, all of these are kind of like de-escalation techniques, but they create predictability. And so that way, no matter what happens, when that student is coming into our classroom, regardless of their home life, regardless of the drama during the day, regardless of how they are feeling, they know exactly what to expect in our environment, and then that allows them to relax and be receptive to learn. So that analogy can kind of relate to our bodies as well. When we create consistent routines, when we create boundaries, when we speak kindly to ourselves, our bodies start to know what to expect. So when we're talking about food in particular, if you are going to eat 3 meals a day plus a snack and drink lots of water, your body is going to learn to expect that amount of calorie intake, that amount of food and nutrients coming into your body. And so what it does is it says, I know I'm going to eat in a couple hours. I can release extra calories. I can release extra fat out of my body because I know more will be coming. This is a safe environment for our bodies to feel like they can release fat cells and fat storage. This is the kind of environment that we want to foster when we're trying to lose weight, and it supports our nervous system, and it allows our bodies to detoxify, to de-stress, and to let go. That's the perfect scenario. However, what happens when we don't eat enough or we're really inconsistent with our food intake is our body doesn't know that it can trust us to eat more food. And so then it goes into survival mode and it holds on to everything that you're giving it. So let's think of another example. I shared this with her too. So again, I'm going to use kind of a teaching example because I was a teacher and I am a teacher. If you are in your classroom every day and you have a responsible student there, you have a candy bowl, and it's kind of an anomaly, right? You don't typically have a candy dish in your room. That student is going to take handfuls of candy, put them in their bag for later, share them with their friends, kind of hoard it. Whereas if you have a candy dish in your classroom every single day of the year, students are only going to start taking a couple pieces because they know that over time, they can have a couple pieces every single day and it's not going to run out. And so when we think about that as far as giving our bodies consistent, steady calories and consistent, steady nutrients, it's only going to use exactly what it needs, and then it's going to let the rest go, let the rest be there. Whereas when it's an anomaly to get food and nutrients because you haven't eaten for 3 days and now you're going to eat a large meal, it's going to hold on to every single calorie that you're ingesting, and it's going to store it in terms of fat. So when we're trying to focus on a healthy metabolism and losing weight, we want to create consistency within our body, consistency in our schedule, consistency in our food intake and in our movement, so that our body can feel safe enough to let go anything that's in excess that it no longer needs, because you're going to be continuously providing it with nutrients. So it doesn't have to store every little thing that you're giving it, because it knows that you're going to be giving it more. And so I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, that's totally okay. If you are trying to lose weight and you're really feeling confused on your journey, definitely reach out to your primary care doctor, reach out to me over at Move Holistic Health and Nutrition, and we can get together and we can talk about your specific circumstance. But I just wanted to share that with you because I really think that, especially in today's culture and in the culture of the past, I feel like today we're a little bit better, but in the culture of the past, it was definitely like pushed on us to eat less if we wanted to be skinny. And unfortunately, that mindset is just not healthy, and it doesn't always equate. Some people who you may view as overweight or even obese, they potentially could be eating less food than you are if you are someone of normal weight or even underweight, just because of metabolism and how their body has reacted to the stress of under eating over time. Okay, so that was part one. And so now I want to move into boundaries. And this is a big one, especially for us who identify as nurturers, empaths, cycle breakers, people pleasers. If setting boundaries feels scary, or if you've ever felt like the bad guy for saying no, then this part of this episode is really for you. And before we dive into that, I just want to take a deep breath and let it out, because this is a topic that can sometimes really stress people out, but I'm telling you, it is so important. So what is a boundary really? Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges, and they're meant to guide connection and not prevent it. So a boundary is a line that you draw to protect your energy, your time, your values, and your well-being. It says, this is what I need to feel safe, respected, and whole. We often think of boundaries as something that we do to others, but in truth, it's really about the things that we do for ourselves. So, for example, maybe you have a boundary that when you are seeing your friends, you will not gossip about other people. That is a boundary, and it's not one that hurts you. It doesn't hurt your friends, but it tells everybody in the situation, I will not entertain this type of behavior in my presence because it doesn't make me feel good. It's mean, and it's not how I want to present myself and into the world. That's a boundary. And we can talk about more examples, but just for the sake of this part of the episode, that's an example for you. But we can feel guilty, right? When we are first getting used to having boundaries. Guilt shows up really hard when we start doing something new that disrupts old patterns. So maybe you want to be the friend who's not gossiping and put in that boundary in your friend group, but you are the one who always starts the drama and starts sharing about people. It is going to be really uncomfortable at first to cut that off and cut that out of your life. And if you grew up in a family or a culture where self-sacrifice is praised, then boundaries can feel really selfish. Not so much in the drama example, but another example where this self-sacrifice is praised is maybe if you are supposed to volunteer for everything growing up, and then now you're a parent and there needs to be a classroom parent, but you're already busy and you're already stressed and you're working on your health goals, and you say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm putting a boundary here that I'm not going to volunteer for my kid's classroom parent role. It can feel really selfish because you grew up with pressure to volunteer because that was praised and that was valued in your family. But here's the thing, right? Guilt is not always a sign that you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it's just a signal that you're doing something different. So you could feel guilty about not being the classroom parent, but it's not wrong because you're actually using that time that you would have to use to be a classroom parent to go to the gym and be healthy so that way you can actually play with your kids when they get home. How do you set a boundary gently and clearly? So here's 3 steps that I teach. So the first is get clear on what you need. This comes first. What drains you? What do you want more of? Maybe you need more time to rest. Maybe you need more space to think or freedom to not say no without explanation. What is it that you really need? What is it in your life that you need to put a boundary up against because you need that time, you need that space to think, or you need that energy or the money too, So the second part is use I language. So a boundary is really about your needs. It's not about the wrongdoings of others. So you could say, I need to take some quiet time in the evenings. So I'll be putting my phone on do not disturb after 8 p.m. You could say, I love our time together, but I won't be available this weekend for calls right now. I'm creating more downtime for myself. And then the third one is hold it with compassion. So the real magic happens when we hold the line gently but firmly. So let's say you told your friends that you need some quiet time this evening and you're putting your phone on do not disturb at 8 p.m. People might test that, right? They might text you at 8:15. They might text you at 8:30. They might call you at 8:45. But guess what? You need to hold the boundary that says, I am not picking up the phone. I am not texting you back. My phone's on do not disturb. And then you can text them in the morning. And this can actually be very difficult at first because you have now put a boundary in place, but you have to back it up, right? You could feel guilty about not texting your friend back at 8:30, but you already said that you need time and space. And so you need to honor it for yourself. And the way you do that is by not texting them back. Side note, if you tell your friends that you need some time in the evening and your phone's going to be off and you're not available after 8 p.m. and they give you a really hard time, I think you should reevaluate that friendship. And maybe that is a little too cutthroat for you, but I'm just giving it real to you right now. If your friends do not respect your space and your time and your energy, you need better friends. And you also definitely should put these boundaries in place because when you start putting boundaries in place, people are going to start treating you different and it's a good thing. Okay, let's talk a little bit about reframing the guilt. So instead of asking somebody like, am I being mean or am I being selfish for putting a certain boundary in place, you could ask yourself, am I honoring what matters to me? Am I modeling what self-respect looks like? When you set a boundary, you're teaching others how to care for you and you invite them to do the same for themselves. You create space for more aligned relationships, better energy, and deeper self-trust. One of my friend's boundaries is that before he hangs out with anybody, he has to get his workout in for the day. And that is a boundary that shows respect for himself. And then it also encourages me, oh, I should do a workout too before I see my friends because that will make my body healthy. That will make my energy brighter and make me happy. And then I will feel better seeing them because I've already done something for myself during the day. So that teaches others how to care for you because they're going to then give you space, right, to take care of your health and yourself first, and then hang out with them. Now, when I see that friend, I actually say to him, do you need to go to the gym before this plan that we're going to have together? Or did you already get your workout in today? Or do you have a time that you're planning on doing that? And then I work around his schedule because we're friends and that's something that I can do to honor his boundary, but also show him that I respect him and his wishes. And so that creates a strong friendship because then the boundaries that I have in place for my energy, for my time, for my health, he is going to honor them because I have chosen to honor his boundaries. Do you see how it's like a give and take? And it's really this nice flow of I respect you, you respect yourself, you respect me, I respect myself. Nobody is sacrificing anything. We still get to hang out and go do those plans, but we've both honored ourselves and we've honored each other before we've even interacted. And that's just a wonderful way to kind of share with you how these boundaries can work and be really beneficial. So if you're new to boundaries, start really small. Say no to that second event in the week that's been stressing you out. Pause before responding to every single text, put a buffer in your schedule, and then really notice how you feel. Once you become better at putting boundaries in place, it becomes easier for you to stick to them. I am going to share, though, that I don't think it's ever easy 100% of the time. For example, I had recently wanted to join one of my friend's clubs, and he was really gracious, and his club members were really gracious to have me in their club. And so I was supposed to go to the first meeting. We've confirmed everything. The day comes that it's time for the club, and I cannot get out of my head. I'm like anxious. I'm on the verge of an anxiety attack. I don't feel well. Sometimes that happens, right? Like I'm very healthy. I take care of my mental health. I prioritize my time and my energy, but I'm human too. And so on this day, I really just wasn't myself. I knew if I went to that club, I wouldn't be my best self. I would feel uncomfortable. I would be bringing the energy down because I knew that my body actually needed me to put that energy back into myself. I needed to rest. I needed to give myself space. I needed to nourish myself, and I needed to be in my home because as much as I love to socialize, I'm also very much an introvert and need space to recharge. And so on that day, even though it was uncomfortable to put myself first, and to create a boundary that says, no, I'm going to take care of myself first before I interact with you and others. It was hard to say no and say, I'm not coming. I hope you can understand, even though I've already confirmed, even though I'm really excited about this, even though you've already asked all your members if I can join and they were gracious to allow me to. I actually can't come because I respect myself too much to completely disregard how I'm feeling. And I also respect you and your club and know that this is a special thing for you. And I'm not going to come and bring the energy down and not be my best self. So again, boundaries are something you should not feel guilty about. You can, but underlining under all the guilt is just mutual respect. It's respect for yourself. It's respect for others. And the more comfortable you are with them, the better your relationships will be, and also the more compassion that you will have with others and yourself. So I hope that wasn't just like a mumble jumble of talking. I hope that made sense. Boundaries are something that, like I said, I think are so important. And it's really something that I've come a very long way with over the last probably year and a half, maybe even 2 years. And I'm still working on them. But if you're new, just try evaluating your life right now and think about the ways that you feel like you are not honoring yourself or you're not honoring others, and then just make small changes. It can be as simple as turning your phone off at 9 p.m. and not looking at it again until 7 in the morning, and communicating that with your friends, right? Because we can set a boundary, but we also need to communicate them with others so that way they know that we're not being a jerk, right? If you are someone who always texts your friends at 11 p.m. and then all of a sudden you're not texting them, they're going to be confused and maybe even hurt depending on the relationship. Whereas if you said, hey, I'm putting my phone away at 9 so I can get some rest, I'm going to be doing that every single day from now on, they're going to respect you and they're not going to be hurt at all because they know that you're not ignoring them. You're just not on your phone. Okay. Have a great week, everybody. I am so grateful that you are here, that you've listened. Please share this episode with someone special who could really benefit from this. And let's grow this community together. Like this episode, follow along on the Move, Grow, Rise podcast, and leave a review. Thanks.